The Massacre at Dongdang Fortress. Memories of the returnees. Mr. Thuk recalled that in 1978, when he was 18 years old, having just finished secondary school, like many of his peers, he left the capital Hanoi to join the army to protect the country. At dawn on February 17, 1979, at exactly 4:30 a.m., the Chinese army fired artillery shells into Lang Son province, then sent troops across the Vietnamese border. At that time, everyone reported to each other that China was attacking us. Without anyone telling anyone, all the soldiers and people ran into the ammunition depot, each holding a gun and running to the defense lines. Because they had prepared carefully in advance, and with a large number of troops, in a short time, the Chinese army attacked and occupied Dongdang Fortress. Just a few hours later, a series of Chinese troops from the 43rd and 55th Corps divided into many groups to attack Din Lap, Loc Bien, Van Lang districts, and Dongdang town, with the support of many tanks, artillery firepower. With the human wave tactic, attacking quickly and unexpectedly, the Chinese troops captured many defensive positions of Vietnam and quickly advanced to Dongdang town. Due to the passivity and the difference in forces, Mr. Thuk's unit, along with the 5th Company of Lang Son Armed Police, were ordered to withdraw from the fortress and prepare to fight. Hundreds of people in the town also went to Dongdang Fortress to hide. By evening, only Dongdang Fortress was still fighting fiercely. The rest of the town was occupied by the Chinese army. Located nearly 2 kilometers from the border, Dongdang Fortress has 3 floors, was built during the French period, so it is very solid and sturdy. The Chinese army used many tanks and many types of vehicles with terrible attack power, followed by tens of thousands of infantry. The Chinese army possessed the most modern and sophisticated weapons, while Mr. Thuk's unit of less than 500 people only had AKA guns, CKC, heavy machine guns, B-40, but still fought fiercely, refusing to surrender. Mr. Thuk recounted, "The weapons we used fired until the barrel was red, but still could not stop the human wave tactics of the Chinese army. On the first day of fighting, the Vietnamese army eliminated an armored tank from the battle. However, with a small force, many soldiers had to fall and heroically sacrifice. China surrounded the fortress with artillery, reinforced the tanks to close in, tightened the perimeter around the fortress, threw grenades, and fired continuously into the fortress. After 5 days of fighting at 4 a.m. on February 21st, China continued to fire fiercely, causing many Vietnamese soldiers to sacrifice. Surrounded and attacked by Chinese soldiers, they continuously called for surrender, but the only response was the Vietnamese soldiers' songs about their determination to protect the border. Unable to persuade them to surrender and unable to get close to the fortress, they angrily continued to fire guns, grenades, and bombard the fortress. Unsuccessful in calling for surrender, the Chinese army planted explosives in the doors, causing many places to be broken. They threw tear gas through the vents, poured gasoline, and used flamethrowers to spray into the gaps of the fortress. Hundreds of civilians and soldiers were killed. Corpses were scattered. The first floor of the fortress was destroyed. 6 survivors ran to the 2nd floor, then the 3rd floor, digging a tunnel to escape. On the 5th day today, the Chinese army drilled into the 3rd floor of the fortress, threw explosives and grenades through the drilled holes, and then completely captured the 3-story fortress. Then a series of deafening explosions rang out, killing almost everyone in the fortress instantly. The screams of pain and despair from children and women. Mr. Thuk was one of the few survivors of that massacre. The story of 400 people in the fortress being killed, including all the soldiers, wounded soldiers, and the entire population hiding there. When he woke up, Mr. Thuk saw corpses lying all around him. Only 3 people survived. Luckily, the thick concrete wall revealed a small path. He and 2 comrades followed that path and escaped. He was seriously injured, then escaped and was taken to the hospital for treatment. 2 months later, Mr. Thuck was discharged from the hospital and returned to his unit. On the way, witnessing the scene of devastation and destruction shocked him deeply. Growing up during wartime, it seemed like the bombs and bullets of war had made the young people of the past accustomed to the sound of bombs and death. However, the short, bloody 5-day war at Dong Dung Fortress was a historical memory that he will probably never forget until his death.